Hello again, William. I'd like to outdoors, and I'd like to once again thank you for joining me for this Burn Friday Burn, where I'm going to try to uh, speak a little bit about a teachable moment. Yeah, we have to be, or we don't have to, I don't guess, but we should be open to those times when a moment makes itself apparent that something or someone is teachable. Yeah, you know, if we are if we are doing our all to be a follower of Christ, that's what we're doing every time we're out and about, or we are even by ourselves. We are learning and seeking to help others learn. Because that's what Jesus did. He seized every moment to teach the people about God. The book of Proverbs, wouldn't you know it? There's a lot of teaching goes on in Proverbs about wisdom and understanding. The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 7 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." So even if we take advantage of every moment and try to teach, there's going to be those who refuse instruction. So don't call them a fool. Just let them go, and perhaps their teaching will come from someone else. They're just not ready to hear you. So, ready or not, here comes the burn. I'll be right back. Well, my fall cleanup didn't last too long, so we'll have to use that as a teachable moment. Now let's see if we can teach this fire how to get going. Something like that. All right. Sometimes being in a hurry becomes a teachable moment because you end up making a mistake And if you don't learn something from a mistake, then you're not taking full advantage of the life God has given you. There are various ways of recognizing that someone is open to learning. Uh, and that's most of the time. Some people think they know it all, but they can still learn something. And if in conversation with you, they should come to a point when they realize that they can learn. And you will recognize that it can become a teachable moment because not everybody knows everything. You're bound to know something that they don't. I read a while ago a passage out of Proverbs chapter 1. How about another one? Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8 and 9. My son, hear the instructions of your father. Is God your father? And do not forsake the teaching of your mother, for they will be a garland of grace on your head. And there's an and here. Chains about your neck. Sometimes our parents will be teaching us something and we will receive it as being a burden. Uh, I grew up on a farm, so I was taught through doing. I did so that I could learn. There was times when I vaguely remember, because I was so young, but I vaguely remember not knowing how to milk a cow. But it was soon, it was at an early age. I know that much. Preschool. But when I would milk, I couldn't pick up the bucket because it was so heavy. And I wasn't much taller than the bucket. I didn't even need a stool to sit down on to reach the udder so that I could milk. So sometimes we teach by allowing the student to do, not by telling. And then sometimes you give instructions so that they can avoid going through something where they would be taught a lesson. Just like he said, hear the instructions of your father and do not forsake, don't forsake the teachings of your mother. I'm not going to say every parent, but most parents want the best for their children, so they teach them at every opportunity. That's pretty, ain't it? The Lord has blessed you in all the work of your hands. And he has blessed his word too. Proverbs chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. Hear, O children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. You have to pay attention. That means attend. You have to pay attention so you will know understanding. For I give you good precepts. Do not forsake my teaching. Do not forsake the Father's teaching. You don't have to. You don't have to listen to me, but do listen to God. My time on earth is short. All of us are. But God is forever, and his word is as well. So you don't have to listen to me or any other human teacher, but be sure, do not forsake the teachings of God. And I'll show you why. And like I said, we're supposed to seize the moment. Take advantage of every teachable moment because you might have something that someone doesn't know. John chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. One day there was a teacher who needed to be taught. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. He came to Jesus by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know you are a teacher who comes from God. He recognized Jesus as a teacher. He said, we know. So he's not the only one that knew. The Pharisees knew that Jesus came from God and that he was there to instruct them. So, Jesus, being who he is, seized the moment and turned it into a teachable moment. He went on and taught Nicodemus how to be born again and what it meant to be born again. Nicodemus didn't understand him, so Jesus taught him. And that's so we should be prepared to teach just in case we come across somebody that says, do what? Be born again? You mean reincarnation? No. Like I said, I'm going to try not to say too much of my own, but read a few scriptures that will point you in the right direction. So take advantage of this and accept it as a teachable moment. You won't really have to write these scriptures down. Just watch the video again if you need to. Put a pause on it. Read it. Jesus was teaching his disciples about the way to the Father. He's telling them about him going away. John 14, beginning with verse 22, going through 26. Then Judas, not Iscariot, said to him, Lord, how is it that you will reveal yourself to us, but not to the world? Jesus answered him, If a man loves me, he will keep my words. My Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. He who does not love me does not keep my words. The word which you hear is not mine, but the Father's who sent me. He said, If a man loves me, he will keep my word, keep his teaching. 25. I have spoken these things to you while I am still with you. But the Counselor, the Holy Spirit, who the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I told you. The Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything. You want to know everything? There's how to know it. Listen to the Holy Spirit, because God's sending him to teach you everything. And like I said, I'm not going to give you a bunch of what I think you need to hear, other than a few passages of scripture showing you some examples of someone who took advantage of the moment and did some teaching. So if you are in the presence of someone who takes advantage of the moment and tries to do some teaching, listen. You should know the truth so you can hear what they've got to say, and it might be something that is the truth that you don't know yet. But if it's not the truth, you know you don't have to hold on to it. So won't you seek to take advantage of another teachable moment and join me next Friday for another Burn, Friday, burn. May the Lord bless and keep you. Turn around there and sit down. Say howdy, folks. Look at the camera. Say, what's happening? Is this a teachable moment? It is. You want to teach me that it's supper time? I've let her supper time pass. You upset? You are? You'll get over it as soon as I feed you. Alright. So, won't you all join us again for another Burn Friday Burn?